What is up, Cabbage Crew? It is Matt and John. We are going to be doing something different today. Not different. I guess we're going to be doing it all the time, but we're going to be doing. It is the first time we're going to be doing a review / quick reaction after watching an episode of The Dragon Prince. We're going to be watching all 6 seasons as of right now. There's 6 seasons. So one every episode. I think it's 6 seasons of 9. And then we're going to be doing other shows as well. Hopefully, maybe getting into reaction videos themselves instead of reviews. So we both just watched episode 1, which, what was episode 1 called?
Echoes of Thunder.
Echoes of Thunder. Interesting. So we'll just jump right into, do you want to do quick thoughts, or do you want to just jump right into the opening characters and story?
I mean, we can jump right into characters, give them a feel of who these people are, so that when we tell about the plot, they know who the characters are. Our audience of 30 people, knows who they are talking about.
Well, actually, let's start with the setup and the opening.
Yeah.
Before we got even introduced to the characters, I thought the setup was pretty cool. I feel like it was a combination of, you could definitely feel some Avatar: The Last Airbender vibes in there with like the 4 elements, the 6 magic types, 7 magic types. Each, we talked about before we shot, but each season is a different magic type, just like how each season of Avatar is a different element, so it's very same vibes. Even the book 1, instead of normally we would say season 1, but it's book 1, just like Avatar was book 1.
Mm-hmm.
So you can definitely tell some of the same energy as Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought the idea of it, again, combination of Avatar: The Last Airbender and almost Lord of the Rings, in like an animated Lord of the Rings kind, with elves and dragons and just kind of the period piece time frame. So I mean, I really like the opening. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't think that's going to be the opening of the show. Like every episode is going to be that. I don't really think they had an opening. Like Avatar was like, Avatar has its mini opening. I don't think they have an opening.
No, doesn't.
So we'll have to see.
It doesn't seem like that. No.
But any quick thoughts on that before we just start rolling with the characters?
No, yeah, I mean, I agree. I would say it's a combination, and I'll even add one combination of Avatar, Lord of the Rings, and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, okay.
Especially with some of the dialogue that I wrote down in my notes, I was like, oh my gosh, they're actually doing this. And so, yeah, I think it's a combination of those 3. And I mean, they just dove right in. Mm-hmm. Like it was like pretty immediately within the first 20 seconds of like explaining just the origin of the world building. And obviously there's going to be more to it. But that was a good intro. It was a lot of information at once. And I am, very much looking forward to, where the Dragon Prince goes. But I will say that I thought and we can talk about this maybe a little bit later as we talk about the characters themselves, but I will say I think the animation is really good for the creatures, the world building, like the scenery. Even some characters are designed well, but I think a lot of the characters don't look good. But we can dive into that later.
Well, we can talk about that now before we jump into the characters. I will say I agree with you. I think the style and the art of it all looks good. Individual characters, I will say they look kind of basic. Yeah. Like where like the world, the castles, the even the creatures we see, like the dragon, anything that's like outer frame, even like seeing like 5 or 6 characters on horses, or landscapes, or just like rooms full of multiple things going on. It all looks great. Individual characters, it looks almost something that like a child would draw, like very basic. I mean, right. Nothing against it. It's just very basic. You look at some of the characters. I'm looking at them now with their names, and they all do look very, it's very basic. But at the same time, this is episode 1. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what these characters look like in season 4.
Yeah.
You know, Avatar: The Last Airbender is the same concept. A lot of shows are you look at episode 1 of anything and you're like, oh yeah, it kind of looks basic. And then by the time you're in, season 2, season 3, you're like, okay, you either get used to it or they might get a little bit more going on. They might get a little bit more detailed.
Yeah, and I hope they do. It's just that they are already good at the world building animation. They're already good at the creatures, the group of characters in their costumes, but like they're it's like their head facial stuff is just so not as detailed as
the
rest of it. And so I hope that gets better. I don't know if it will, but we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, well, let's just jump into the characters. So it's funny because it's very interesting because I just typed up because I kind of forgot some of their names.
Sure.
And I was like, season 1 characters of Dragon Prince, and they were all lined up. And I was like, sweet. And it's 9 main characters, all 9 of them introduced in episode 1. So like you said, a lot of information at once, not only about the world building and how the world became, which we've talked about now, but it very much seems like the world's divided into 2. Humans are kind of outcasts because of something that happened tens of thousands of years ago. So and now it's going to kind of clash together maybe again. And it seems as though these 9 main characters, at least in season 1, the first 9 episodes, are going to be the 9 main characters. Where Avatar, again, I hate comparing it to Avatar, but this is, what we're going to do. Avatar, you met maybe 4 or 5 of the characters, a couple other characters you were introduced. Well, in season 1, I will say you got most of, if not all, the main characters in episode 1, right?
Yeah,
Zuko.
Yeah.
And season 1's main characters,
yeah.
So let's just go down them. I'm going to go down.
Sure.
It's actually by height for some reason.
Okay.
It's the heights. But the first one is Bait, the frog demon looking guy.
I didn't even remember his name, but because I thought he was feeding him bait.
So his name's Bait, which and I guess we can talk about Bait and all the other creatures in this world. We've seen dragons. I think we saw a couple other horses and stuff like that. But the moth. Yeah, it seems like there are magical creatures / fictional creatures in this world. Not just like dragons. Oh, dragons, they're fictional, but everyone knows dragons. Like they're probably going to be creatures that this show individually has, which is, Bait being one of them. Kind of a comedy relief, Momo type of character, I feel like. But, that always helps, I guess. Do you have any thoughts about Bait?
Yeah, very funny. Just like, he gives you the mood of the scene.
Okay.
And like of like certain things of like if a joke doesn't land well, he'll just go, or like who just like go the like a facial feature. He reminds me of Nibbler from Futurama.
Never watched it, but okay.
Same similar type of thing where it's a creature that they have that tags along. Same sort of concept. Just reminds me of him. But I think he's going to play a secret role in his character development. Like he's going to have some sort of power that he can do besides like camouflage or like changing colors. Like there's going to be like a big thing where like my prediction is that it's going to be something like a small creature has this like massive power, whether or not it means like he can grow in certain.
I was gonna say like evolve like a Pokemon.
Yeah, kind of. I mean,
he kind of gives me the feel of a Pokemon. He kind of gives you the feel of a Pokemon.
Yeah,
like this creature that has a power, a small little like minor power.
or like that can grow under certain conditions, or like under extreme stress can be kind of like a Togepi where like she explodes or something.
Like in the Avatar state. We're like, we are just watching Avatar.
I mean, it's created by Aaron Ehas, one of the writers. Yeah.
So, cool. Well, we'll keep going in line. Next is Ezrin,
yes.
which is I guess you could say the owner of Bait. He seems like he's the youngest. I'm showing here he's 10. So, definitely the youngest of the crew of main characters. Again, seems like he's kind of the comedy relief, mischief. He who he reminds me of? He even kind of looks like him. In Korra season 3, they introduced, I can't think of his name. He's the Airbender kid.
The teen. I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He reminds me of
like Jason or something. It's like some.
I want to look it up.
It's like it's like a weird. It's like a one word, I think. It's like one short word.
It's a one word. I hope it's a name.
Or one name. It's like a Gabe or like a. It's like a Gabe.
It's like Gabe. Korra. Korra, all these like crazy names, and just Gabe. Not Tenzin. Kai.
See.
Yep. So Kai, yeah. So he reminds me of get back to the names and everything.
He reminds you of Kai.
So Ezrin
reminds you of Kai.
Yeah, Ezrin reminds me of Kai. Just young, kind of mischievous. He has a little sidekick, which isn't Kai, but like he just gives me that vibe of like going back to Korra, Bolin / Kai / just that kind of character. Maybe even like a little bit of Sokka season 1 to him.
Sure.
Which we'll talk about Sokka in a second.
Mm-hmm. But even though he doesn't show up. He does not show up in this show.
Who?
Sokka doesn't show up in this show. It's a completely different world.
Yeah.
But when I know what you meant to say.
So yes. So that's kind of, he gives me the vibes for that. So next is, I might be saying, is it Callum?
Callum.
Next is Callum. And you can talk about Callum if you want.
Callum he's Sokka. Because he is. He's the voice actor from Sokka in Avatar is the voice.
What's his name? Jack
DeSena.
Jack DeSena.
Yep. You can even tell it's him. I mean, there's no ifs and or buts about it. Like same kind of voice. He is
very distinctive voice.
Yes, and he is the prince in the human side.
Mm-hmm.
So the king is his stepdad. And we don't know about Ezrin and Callum's family structure, like before the king adopted them, or whatever it is. We don't know that side yet.
Well, is it? Yeah, I was gonna say, because is it adoption, or because it seems like Ezrin is just his son, the king's son, and
we don't know. I don't know. I mean,
oh, okay. Because I was just assuming that Ezrin and Callum,
right?
are stepbrothers. So the mom is either dead or somewhere. We don't know about her yet.
Right.
But yeah. So we don't know 100% of that dynamic yet.
Right.
Now,
but no, he's very brave. Wants to go out and fight.
Mm-hmm.
He is very stubborn. I mean, this is Sokka 2.0.
I was gonna say it's like Sokka because he's brave but goofy, but you can tell he wants to be a warrior. But you can also tell that he is not taking really too much serious. But once it is serious, he's like, all right, we gotta get packed, we gotta go. Like, I can kind of fill in the blanks of what's going on. But then he has like that goofy, lighthearted side. And he is, I would say, he is the lead of the show. At least right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so that it is very Sokka.
I did write down. It's kind of funny how Jatasana is playing two warriors that are the same in the sense of, like, in Avatar, they joke and say, like, I'm sort of like a prince myself. And now he's actually a prince.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, at a not, I guess you can say, a kind of a prince of a nation that is a goofball, comedy relief main character who is also brave and wants to be a warrior. That is both characters. Which is perfectly fine. So next we're going to talk about well, let's not go out of order here. I don't want to jump around too much. So let's talk about, I think it's Soren.
Viren.
I'm looking at, it's Soren.
Yeah, I think you're right. Soren.
So Soren and him have a pretty good relationship. I wouldn't say it's older brother, younger brother, but kind of. It's like,
oh, that was his name. The sword
the knight
fight with.
Yeah. And I don't know
his name.
I don't know. I guess his father and the king are. I don't know how his father. Who's his father compared to the king? Is it just his guide?
It's a lord, right?
Oh, is that what he is?
Yeah, his dad's is Lord Viren.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Lord Ozai. Yeah. So okay, cool. So yeah, and he seems like almost like an older brother figure. I'm showing here he's 18, where Karam's about. Oh yeah, he said he's almost 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's like he's trying to help.
He was almost 15.
He's what?
Same Sokka age too.
Right. No, I mean he kind of, again, I hate to keep going back to Korra and Avatar, but he kind of almost reminds me of it semi reminds me of a Bolin and Mako relationship. Yeah, obviously it's not twin brothers, same age, but one brother is goofy but also wants to be strong and wants to be that. And then Mako's a little bit more serious, a little bit more when it comes to, like, I guess, straightforward fighter. It's kind of what.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that analysis. No.
But we went too much on him. Besides, he went out and failed at finding those elves. I mean, you would think he would be looking a little bit more than just like, oh, not here, let's go. But
dumb question. Even though we just watched it, he wasn't the one. Now, and this jumps into the next character, I think.
Okay.
He wasn't the one that Rayla let go, right? Or was it a different person?
No, that was not him. Okay. It wasn't the same character. Yeah, that was just some random guy. Okay. Which again, it's like one of those shows where you're like, I'm confused, and then when by the end of the episode you're like, all right, I'm not confused anymore, because I didn't know what was going on when that happened. I was like, who is this? You know what I mean? Like, I was like, I was like, are they gonna fall in love? What's happening? So it was just, no, I mean, like, how she was looking at him, I was like, what's happening right now? Yeah. But it just kind of finds out that she's just not ready and she didn't want to kill somebody.
And that scene reminded me of like the way that they had her cloaked and like dark and mysterious. Reminded me of who's that character in Teen Titans?
Raven.
That's who she reminded me of.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about her. Rayla. She is, it seems like the youngest of the group of, what were they called? Moon assassins?
Moonshadow elves.
That were kind of sent over here to take down this kingdom of humans. Yeah, I mean, she kind of, it says she's 5'7", 5'8" with horns. Yeah, it seems like she's not necessarily ready, or maybe she's not about this war, because we haven't really started too much when it comes to the layout of the whole story. Maybe there's more to be seen about this war, and maybe she's just, not about it, or just doesn't seem like she's on the same page as Ronan. I think his name is Ronan.
Ruan.
Runan.
Runan.
So Runan is a little bit more of, it looks like the general or the head of that squad. And kind of the episode ends with them two getting an argument. But
well, I was actually going to talk about that real quick.
I was going to say, you can talk about both those characters and the end as well if you want.
Well, it's about the ending. So, like, it's like the entire episode, and I'm just laughing because of how it came out. But the entire episode, like, great voice, great, this, that, and the other. And it's like, I can understand what she's saying. And then in the last conversation, like, her Scottish accent comes out. I don't know if you realize that. Like, I picked it up at the very end. I was like, when did this happen?
Does she not have a Scottish accent the whole episode? No. Well, the thing is, there's so many characters, and I feel like she was probably the least, like, the most minor character of them all. For the most part, like, she was at the beginning, but she didn't talk. No, she probably could be, but she was at the beginning, but she didn't really talk. So, like, you only saw like one or two scenes with her interacting with him. And because it went away from her so long and it was with the main characters and went back to her at the end, right. I didn't like remember if she was Scottish or not. But yeah, I 100% know.
She wasn't before the last scene is what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
So she just became Scottish?
I'm sure she is Scottish, but she just like had a good voice, like good voice work to be like more like, Western English.
The Scottish came out of her.
The Scottish immediately came out, and I was like, "Oh my god!"
That character's not Scottish.
She might be. I don't know. I'm just saying. All I'm saying, Matt, is that like before the end scene with her, it was like Western English, and then the last scene was Scottish for some fucking reason.
It's like on Yu-Gi-Oh, where they change after like 3 episodes. They change Tristan's voice actor. So the first couple episodes, he talks like this, and then like
you're right.
Randomly, he's just like a normal guy. He's like, "Hey,
you're right,"
and you're like, "What?" And no one really cares because it's like the first couple episodes. But okay, well, let's go. There's a couple characters left. Claudia, the sister of Soren. Soren seems like it seems like the main lead has a crush on her. Yep. And we don't get too much from her.
I feel like older for him though.
Well, it's a crush. I mean, no, he's 14 and a half. She's 16.
She seemed. I'm just based off of like how they built up the animation. I thought she was like over 20. Like,
yeah. She does not look like she's as old as 8.
She looks like 22.
She looks like she's 22. Yeah. But which still be fine. I mean, if it's like a crush, you could be a 15-year-old have a crush on a 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's not like anything more than just like, oh, I think she's cute. Now if it's reversed. But yeah, I mean, Darth Vader and
what about Darth Vader? Oh yeah.
Because when he was like, hey Annie, she's like 14, she's like 25. They get married. Yeah, so I mean, seems like maybe it's one of the they set her up like she was reading and she was really, so maybe they're just setting her up quickly. I feel like when they introduce a character and they're reading, it's like, oh, that's gonna be the smart one of the group.
Yep.
I don't know why, because that ain't Austin, but Austin's always reading, but I don't know if he's the smartest.
And writing.
Yeah.
Podcasting.
So let's just go to the last characters, kind of the adults. So you have Horo. Horo is his name. That's the king.
There's Viren.
It's Harrow.
Oh, Harrow. It's Harrow.
Harrow. Yeah, he's the king. Seems like he has a pretty good relationship with Viren, who is, I guess, the Lord. I guess they have a friendly relationship. It seems like, they joked about assassin. I don't know if that was real. I think that was more like,
I was
at first I was like,
I actually laughed so hard at that whenever he was like, and I was just laughing at like, I want to say this in real life of like, didn't I tell you that if you wake me up this early, Jen, I'll have you executed?
And they're like looking out the window, talking about him assassinating him, and then or him executing him. And he's like, "Assassin, sir." And he's like, "Oh." Yeah. So those two. I will say it's interesting because whenever you see, I feel like every show does this, and maybe this show is not going to be one of those shows. But whenever they're like, there's a king, and then there's a lord or the number two in charge. The number two in charge actually wants to kill the king.
Right.
Like that's that's actually what he wants. So I don't know if this is just a actual good relationship, or if we're going to find out in the future, oh, maybe he's the one that told the elves to come, or it's the whole time he's just faking it. He's faking to be there, and then Sauron finds out his father is evil. Like I don't know. But I don't know if that's. I love how it says age, and it's like 14, 16, 18, and then for all them, it's just dad-ish. I guess so. Going back to Ronan, I guess he's the uncle of Rayla because it says uncle-ish.
Okay.
So yeah. So I mean, those are the three last characters. I mean, do you have any thoughts, notes on their relationship on those two characters and all together?
I'll just finish it with saying I'm anticipating a great character arc with Rayla. I think she's going to be a great character.
Rayla, okay.
And I'm looking forward to her character development. I mean, obviously the rest of them, but like I see Rayla as like maybe a hate to bring it in. We got to bring it in, but like maybe a Zuko character, like maybe.
For one, never even bring that up again. No, never even. No. I think. I mean, it's the show is setting up for Rayla and is it Callum and Rayla would be the two being leads. Two main leads, different sides, right? Mm-hmm. That's where it's setting up. Where Rayla seems like she's more of a conflicted character already, like conflicted in what side she's on.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, no, but Zuko was set up as the villain who was not conflicted, and then by season 2 he became conflicted. But it does seem as though we're gonna by the end of the first season, it's like Rayla's gonna join the good guys. Like she's going to almost, it's almost like you can almost tell that like she's a character that is actually not about what is happening with the war. So I agree with that. I mean, we'll just jump into the story. We're 30 minutes in. I mean, the first episode was setting up for a pretty good story. Again, that little 15, I don't want to say 15, minute and a half, 2 minute open kind of set us the world up. So I'm assuming they're going to find the Dragon Prince.
Yeah,
because they were talking about how the king of the dragons, his name is Thunder, and his quote unquote wife, which is just another dragon. Mm-hmm. They were the ones that were kind of in the divide of the split between the humans and the elves, and essentially, this was already on the opening, but essentially one of the humans tried to create dark magic, or did, and so the dragons kind of put him in the corner, and all the humans in the corner, and then they slayed Thunder. Yep. And so he had an egg, and that was the Dragon Prince, and they destroyed the egg too. So I'm assuming it's not we destroyed it, but really they threw it in somewhere, and maybe
in a river.
In a river or in a volcano, and it survived. So and now maybe the leads are gonna find the Dragon Prince. That's what I'm assuming.
I will say before watching it, because I like I've researched it a little bit like over the years, and I always assumed that the voice of Jet Desena, like Callum, I assumed he was the Dragon
Prince. Agreed.
Yeah. And it doesn't seem to be the case here. He's a prince, but not the Dragon Prince. So
yeah.
And
just real quickly, I 100% agree, by the way. And so it looks like there's six ways to create and this is, I really think, a really cool concept. 6 ways to make magic, or 6 types of magic that the source of the magic comes from. You have the sun, the moon, the stars, earth, sky, ocean, and then they made a 7th. Humans made a 7th from dark magic, and it seems like that's what the 7 seasons are called. Yep. Season 1 being moon, I believe, right?
Yep.
So it's, you know, moon, sun, stars, earth, sky, ocean, and I'm assuming season 7 is going to be dark or dark magic or something,
which is very Game of Thrones
very Game of Thrones very Avatar: Last Airbender just each element
very Lord of the Rings
yeah. So I've always liked that concept too, where it's like you introduce, that's why I liked a lot about Avatar too. It's like you introduce these 4 elements each season. Aang learns each element. It's very basic, but it's very. I always like shows that are very constructed, like very like put together.
It gives you a taste.
Yeah. Yes. And each season's 9 episodes, like just very like broken down. Like that's what one of my very, very like. Again, it's a nitpick, but it's like when I watch Korra, I'm like season 1, 12, season 2, 14, season 3, 11. You're like, okay, I guess they're just making a story. Like, I guess they're just seeing what happened. We're like Avatar. It just seems so constructed, you know?
It is.
And it's like 2020, you know, it's like every season's 23, you know, it's like, so,
I will say that I like
series seems very, very the same, very, very much constructed in a great way.
No, I don't disagree. I'm just read that.
What were we gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say whenever when the narrator mentioned the 6 magic like systems like primal sources is what they say.
Primal sources.
Sun, moon, stars, earth, sky, and ocean. It's as soon as he said that, I was like, that's a very cool concept, because in their own way, like on Earth, they are like a magical thing. Like, like it was like it made me think of like the stars. How did it get up there? The the ocean, it's pretty cool how just there's water and animals that live in this said thing.
Thing. I agree. I think if you were to ask, like, those are the 6, like, it seems like 3 of them have to do with Earth, like 3 of them have to do with our world, 3 of them, like sun, moon, sky, and then Earth, or sun, moon, stars, Earth, sky, ocean. You know, it's like it's just a really cool way of being like a source of power. And it's so funny because the elves were drawing power from the moon. And I was like, oh, that's very bloodbending. I was like, you know, and again, it's one of those things where, and I'm not saying Avatar created all these concepts, but Avatar has a lot of neat concepts that you can take and kind of spin into other things.
Right.
So it's like, it's almost like their own spin on, you know, the 4 elements. We're going to have 6 fashions or 6 ways of making magic. You know, bloodbending or waterbenders are strong during the moon. It's like, oh, well, elves have this ability during when it's moon time, like when it's a full moon. We have moon time. Elves have an ability when it's moon time. So it's like, well, let's attack them during the day. Obviously, you can tell there's magic that we're going to learn about. The elves were able to make themselves camouflaged,
right?
Or just like turn to a tree. You know, so like,
and that's where Zhao plans his invasion, where like he halts the attack because the waterbenders are their power from the moon,
right?
And so like you see that parallel. You see that parallel. You know,
yeah, 100%. So be funny that writer was the one that created like that in season 1. And
you never know.
I just love that concept. I'm gonna do it again. Yeah. So I mean, overall, I think it was a really good start of a series. It definitely made me, when that episode ended, it definitely made me want to watch season 2 or episode 2. It definitely makes me intrigued about how the series is going to go, just by seeing each season being called a different magic fashion. I'm just gonna keep calling fashions, but that's just, in my opinion, like a really cool concept, and like it makes me intrigued of how the characters are going to grow and maybe what they're going to meet. I'm assuming this season they're going to, you know, because it's called Moon, the elves draw from the moon. Like this season's going to be very heavy on those moon creatures or those moon elves, and then, you know, season 2 is sun or whatever it is, and they're going to meet new creatures and new characters that have to do with the sun. So it's like every season seems like its own adventure based off of what magic they're going to run into, which is, again, kind of like Avatar in that sense. So I really like the concept. I really like so far. I think some of the comedy hasn't landed, in my opinion. You could kind of tell it is more season 1 Avatar comedy, which is, and a lot of the comedy, this is like kind of a lot of the comedy in like Marvel too, where it's like chippy comedy, and sometimes it really depends on how it lands based off of the situation, the character, the charisma of the character. So, some of the comedy's not landing, some of it is. So it does seem a little bit more childish comedy. And like you said, even some of the writing and some of the stuff, what they look like it does seem, again, Avatar: Last Airbender vibes, which is a children's show. Realistically, if you're watching season 1 of Avatar, you're like, this isn't what people been telling me about. This is not as mature as people say. So I'm not saying this show will not evolve, but I will say some of the comedy hasn't hit. But overall, really like what I'm seeing.
Yep. No, I don't disagree. I'm usually skeptical of new shows of like cartoon stuff, like as I get older, but this looks good. I'm very excited about it. Moving forward, we'll see where it goes and lands. And I'll just top it off by saying the one Game of Thrones dialogue. Do you remember what was said?
I've never seen Game of Thrones.
Okay. Well,
what did they say?
There's a famous line in Game of Thrones that was it was essentially word for word in this. They said winter is coming eventually.
So, but I remember that line. I know that line from like Game of Thrones. No, but that's even like
eventually.
I think that's good writing. I really do, because I think that's them knowing what they're doing, but they're being funny about it. Like they're making, like they know that the world they're creating is very similar to Game of Thrones.
Well, and so when did this come out? That's what we need to know.
Game of Thrones the books have been out forever. The books have been out since the 90s. Okay. So I mean, this show is on season 7. So I'm assuming it is after Avatar. So I'm assuming this show started maybe in 2010. Let's look, because each season might be 2 years. So wait, Dragon Prince.
I thought it was like 2013, 14, but
no, I mean maybe you're right. I'm just
that'd be my guess.
My guess would be 2010. Oh wow, okay, 2018. So they make one season a year.
Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because I remember people talking about this show during COVID, and it was like, oh yeah, season 2, season 3 is coming out. So yeah, they've been banging them out one a season.
That's good.
One a season.
9 episodes. That'll do.
One a year.
Yep.
Yeah. One a year. Yeah. So no, that's cool. I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for the rest of the show. I mean, it seems like the show, I think it's wrapping up last season, like coming out soon. So
awesome.
I mean, we'll probably catch up to it and then finish it. So
yeah, that's awesome.
All right,
yeah,
cool.
Looking forward to it. Cabbage Crew. This is episode 1 of the Dragon Prince reaction.